So a couple months ago, my boyfriend Dan calls me and he's like,
Cary Elwes is coming to Ohio.
aka Wesley from Princess Bride.
We need to buy tickets ASAP.
And I was like, hey cat! Now, tickets to what exactly? I could not conceive of what this event might entail. Literally, it's called An Inconceivable Evening with Cary Elwes. But Dan has been so obsessed with Princess Bride his whole life that he's based most of his personality off of Wesley. And I used to have a shared Pinterest board with a friend where we would post pictures of Cary Elwes and discuss the merits of his face. So honestly, we didn't care what this event was about. We would have bought tickets to watch Cary nap on stage. Now, when buying tickets, Dan says to me,
should we wear costumes?
I think I levitated. He asked me. A man asked me if we should wear costumes. So I was like,
yes.
Then he was like,
but these can't just be any costumes. They have to be the best costumes. We have to have an ROUS and a shrieking eel.
I was like, totally. Well then, a couple months goes by. Now the event is in just a few days. And we're both like, are we still doing the costume thing? And I was like, no. It's too late. There's no time now.
Okay, that was me lying. It's a new thing I'm trying. So here's a drawing of what the costumes are going to entail. I knew the dress was going to get hot, so I needed a cold-blooded scarf. I also knew that there's been a gaping rat-sized hole in my heart that's needed filled for a few years now, and this could fill it. Alright, let's keep this moving along because we've only got 4 days.
So for these costumes, I'm going to have to make a dress, tear a shirt, make the body of an ROUS.
Dan will be making the head, hands, and feet.
And assist in some eel stuff.
For which Dan will be making the head, non-existent hands, and non-existent feet. Started with the dress. Now years ago I made a Jared Leto inspired dress that I was also able to utilize as a Princess Buttercup costume. Here's a picture of me doing that. But one, this one just wasn't good enough, and two, I lost it. So let's make a new one.
We have these curtains that Grandpa JJ is getting rid of because he got married and his new wife wasn't as into the like evil, broody aesthetic. Ignore the sniper shards. We're on a prototype. Anyway, this is a darker red than what she wears, but that's actually what I'm going for because I'm going for wet buttercup.
From this moment on, I couldn't stop imagining dipping a peanut butter cup in water before eating it.
Like she just got out of the water. It's gonna make sense.
You will need 5 red curtain panels. Lay all 5 out, roll all 5 up, and then lay back out 2 of them. Cut them to be as long as from your shoulder to your foot, and sew them together along the long side, making them the size of a full-size bed. Nap on it to make sure it's the right size. Find a throw pillow exactly as wide as your back. This one was perfect for me. Pleat the top edge of your bed until it's exactly the width of your pillow. Sew the pleats in place, then drape it upon your cold, lonely mannequin. Bring forth 2 more curtain panels. Pin one onto each side of the front, ruminating woefully about how you wish you'd had your grandpa teach you how to play accordion before he moved on from this life. But that opportunity is past, and you'll have to settle for making accordion pleats instead. Sew the front and back together along the top. Now we're making bishop sleeves. To do so, you'll essentially follow the same steps as when you're making a regular sleeve, but with a bishop taped to your chalk as you're sketching it out. Sorry everyone, I promise I won't let you down with such a crummy joke ever again, after I do it like 4 more times in this video. If you're wondering why I'm chewing so much gum, it's because I was trying to make my jaw look like Robin Wright's, and if you're wondering why my dad's wearing knee pads,
I don't know. And frankly, I don't know why you're asking when the question you should be asking is,
Micarah, how do you keep your skin looking so youthful? You don't look a day past 30.
well, that's because I'm not 30 yet, and also because I have a great skincare ritual. Wanna see it?
Placed in a large cauldron, I put the feather of a young bird, then a bloom of spring, and then I sprinkle in a little bit of thyme. Then add 1 whole entire egg. And now the real magic occurs as I reach behind me, grab my ritual vitamins, specifically my Hyacera. I take 1 pill so good I don't even have to coat it in chocolate. Then
Hyacera is a once daily skin supplement that enhances skin from within, with clinically proven results in skin smoothness and wrinkle reduction. I'm sitting on an egg. Wrinkle reduction. It's a once daily vanilla essenced pill, and it's subscription based, so you'll never run out. Look how smooth my skin is. Hyacera is different because it's ingestible skincare. Skincare. It takes your skincare to a deeper level because it works from the inside out, and it's from a brand that does the work for you, so you have the peace of mind of knowing what's going inside your body. Or shirt. With no witchcraft necessary. Okay, in real life though, my skin actually feels very hydrated since taking Hyacera. I was considering trying injectables, but then I found out you can't take those from your damp, dingy basement.
you can take Hyacera anywhere.
Any time of day. With or without food. Don't need this anymore. Ew, you're not gonna eat that, are you? It's soy-free, no added sugar, third-party tested for metals and microbes, gluten-free, so it won't kill me, and vegan, so it won't kill you. And it's the coolest looking pill I've ever taken, though closely rivaled by Ritual's stress-relieving capsules.
Which I also take, as you can clearly see. Look how unstressed I am. This could be you. If you check out Ritual today, follow the link in my description for 25% off your first order when you use the code micarahtewers25. Now back to the dress.
This is what we have at the moment. It looks like I'm about to graduate. Hi, yes. First off, I'd like to thank... Did I not give acceptance speeches at graduations? I wouldn't know.
Well, everyone, it's officially cuffing season, and you know what that means. It means you're going to quadruple fold a piece of fabric, gather stitch the end of your sleeve, and shove it inside. Sew it in place, careful not to kick your chicken as your toe reaches for the foot pedal. By the way, if you're curious as to why Tonto's in the house, well, a cat broke into their little house and killed Grandma. Yeah, Grandma is dead. So ever since... By the way, Grandma is a chicken. So ever since Zelda and now Grandma, I'm just very protective of Tonto, so she's been spending a lot of time in the house. And if I may use this as an ill-advised segue, speaking of died, remember my last video when I said,
Sabrina, if you're watching, I'll die.
Well, update. Okay, so she technically commented on my TikTok, not my actual YouTube video, so I'm only mostly dead. Anyway.
So there is a cat that has been terrorizing chickens, and I know this because I caught it. Red hand, correction, red paw. Correction, I didn't catch it, which is the whole point, but I'm going to. Bought a live trap, the humane type that they recommend. I'm gonna catch it, give it to the Humane Society, and then it can be adopted by some sweet young lady who loves killers. And there are a lot of those. Have you seen the ratings on the show Dahmer? But I don't want it in my yard.
I selected tuna as bait for its pungency, and also because it's known as the chicken of the sea, and if there's one thing we know about this cat, it's that it loves chicken.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day. We're gonna start out by seeing if we caught the cat. Oh my gosh, it's an ROUS. I'm critter catching Barbie.
So I looked it up, and apparently possums only mainly target chicks, and since I live in the house, I didn't feel like it was much of a threat, so I released it. Correction, I tried to release it. Pal did not want to leave. I tried everything, leaving her alone, sweet-talking her, street-talking, TikTok dancing in front of her. I tried telling her this is an eviction notice.
This is an eviction notice?
Nothing. She stayed completely still, suspiciously still, actually. It's almost as if she was trying to prove her merits as an art model. It was about time we sketched a mock-up for an ROUS, but I'm only good at drawing people, not animals. So I had Dan come draw it, because he is a I don't like the word registered. He is an animal drawer. Now, with how long our animal model had been in there, who, by the way, I named Emily Radikowski, I feared she might be getting dehydrated, so I decided to fill the now empty tuna can with water. And that must have spooked her, because next thing I knew, she took off quicker than a tortoise watching a video of molasses on dial-up internet. Yeah, this video is not slowed down at all. This is really the pace she clocked.
All we have left on the buttercup dress is the belt, and then we will start working on the reptilian scarf.
Now, as you'll see, oh, wrong screenshot. As you'll see, she has sort of a red belt with some gold embellishment. So I made a red cloth belt, then covered it with this trim that's made of real, unadulterated gold. That was an embellishment. See what I did there? It's not lying if you're embellishing about embellishments, because double jeopardy applies. And when sewing a dress for any event, I always recommend you use the scraps to make a bag to carry essentials in. Finally, and most importantly for this look, get a new pair of red boots. Remove the styrofoam insoles, and chuck the boots to the side. These will be the starring ingredient when you whip up a batch of ROUS. Maybe we should rewind and show you how to start that. First, you're gonna get a minimum wage job at a craft store. When one of the patrons happens to be a handsome sculptor, take note but don't take action, even when your middle-aged coworker urges you to marry him. Remain distant acquaintances for several years, until one day when you found success, bought a house, and you're roller skating in your new neighborhood, then literally run into him as he's exiting his house and you realize, oh, we're neighbors now. But then still keep things distant to kind of guard your fragile heart, skip a few chapters ahead, and then he will be making you an ROUS. Now, I understand that following all of those steps would probably be impractical for you, but as long as you adhere to the 8.5-year slow burn, your ROUS should turn out okay.
When did you make these? Before work?
Yeah.
While you were in the shower?
No, this is for you.
Ooh.
So anyway, back to our current timeline, where I was faced with making a replica of Emily Radikowski's body.
Believe it or not, this is actually my first time making a rat. I've cuddled with a rat, I've shared meals with a rat, I've graved a rat, I've shared a big chunk of my life with a rat. Oh, and I also had a pet rat. But this is my first time making one.
To make an accurate replica of a rat's body, I referenced the picture that my boyfriend drew. I started with making a muslin, not to be confused with a Muslim, which should not be confused with a Hindu, and many Hindus respect rats, some even going so far as to make pilgrimages to the Sri Karni Mata temple, where rats are free to roam around and proliferate, while being nourished and revered. That always sat very well with me. So I put a motion forward to my local government to get one put in my city, but the bill was never ratified.
By the way, to address this mess, I just gathered everything in the house that could feasibly or weaselably be used as stuffing. Sorry, I'm done with the rodent puns. Anyway, just letting you know so that you don't think I'm a pack rat.
Faced with a hollow carcass that needed stuffing, I pulled out some pillows and ripped them open.
Ah! What is this made of? Unrelated. Does anyone else ever constantly ask people about their birth stories and then afterwards, like, you're just so horrified, but like you keep doing it?
Speaking of, I see the head. You don't right now, and that's because it was at Dan's house where he was adding a neck.
So I cannot gauge how this is going to look with a head. I think that's a good sign. What have I created? You can't simply undo a thing like this.
You know, and heads up, this is unrelated to everything you've ever heard. I think we need more astronaut influencers because we spend so many billions of dollars tax money on astronauts, such as the space kind. That was point one. And point two, influencers, it's kind of like a self-sustaining thing. The brands would be paying for these expeditions, right? And the product placement, man, if there's anyone I'm going to buy products from, it's an astronaut. And point 3B, if there's one person whose daily life I want to see more snippets of, it's an astronaut. Oh, it feels good to finally say that out loud. Dan brought the head back over and I gave him a quick tutorial on how I liked things pinned. He absolutely flourished at it. I made the eel body out of the wettest looking fabric I could find. Make a big question mark shape on 1.5 yards of fabric. This will make your eel the perfect size and give you just enough scraps to make a bathing suit. And a fabric that already looks wet is perfect for a swimsuit because then you won't even have to get in the water. The next day was the following day, and under pressure like that, it's no wonder I made the eel frill so quickly. Using wire edge organza ribbon that I simply tugged on the bottom wire round. Then I tucked and sewed the frill all along his spine and in between his non-existent legs. I sewed a couple pieces of Velcro under his chin, then lined up the corresponding sides on my shoulder so that the eel could Paul Anka me. If you didn't get that joke, it's because it's before your time. Or after. You know, if you're Gen Z, you probably got it, and if you're really old, you probably got it.
I'm gonna offer you guys a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Have you ever wanted to go inside an ROUS? Let's actually do it from this side. Ready? Okay, ready to come out? Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of you guys. I've always wanted to experience that.
We hand sewed the rat limbs on with heavy upholstery thread.
This side is definitely harder.
Why aren't you ambidextrous?
I'm definitely more comfortable on land than I am on water, but I'd say I'm good with both, so yeah.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Is it ambidextrous or ambidextrous?
Ambidextrous.
Wow.
Yeah, phonics is not your strong suit, neither is your left hand.
Then Dan left me to go back to work. He was just on his lunch break, and I was left to solve the conundrum of how we would keep him in the ROUS's chokehold.
What do you think of this backpack? What if I did this?
Cut off the back of your backpack, leaving you with just the back of your backpack. Try the backpack back on your dad's back, then sew it onto the rat lang flat, using strong upholstery thread because the ROUS can be utilized like a piece of upholstered furniture later. I decided to use Velcro to attach the rat's tail. That way I could add more stuffing as needed, and also store special things inside, kind of like a Build-A-Bear. These are the feathers of my late chicken Bazelda, so I could feel like she's with me. And then I also put some mini M&Ms in there because I like them a lot better than regular M&Ms. And finally, I put fur back over the rat's backpack so people wouldn't notice it's a backpack when he's laying back flat. Then Dan and I had some shopping to do.
That reminds me of you at JJ's wedding.
For context. The reason we were out shopping was to find some Wesley pants, and we found the perfect fit in these leather jeggings. And of course I mean perfect fit metaphorically, because I had to take them in a crap ton. Dan already had a Wesley shirt that he'd wear back in college, so I only had to rip the shoulder while he applied the eel's eyeballs and painted it a color to perfectly match my swimsuit, and also the eel's body. And when it came to painting the ROUS, well, he's the registered official artist, so I'll let him explain it.
We did this in multiple coats because a skin tone is never just one color.
Thanks, Dan. He's not here. He's busy digging a 25-foot hole. Then I joined Dan at his house because contrary to what was printed in the newspaper, we don't live together. Then I attached the eel's head to his body while watching my favorite show, the reflection of Dan painting the weasel, or possum, or rat, or Adam Levine, Ethan Slade.
It's the night before we're gonna go see Cary Elwes. After midnight, I'm blow drying a foot.
If I had a dime for every time I've said that, I'd probably be Dan Schneider. And to go just a touch further with the topic of rats, my rat tail didn't look convincingly dingy enough, so I fixed that.
I've never hated something that I love so much.
And now for the most paramount element of our creation, unifying the dignified head with its unresolved body. Then Danny boy patched up all them bald spots by adding fur, and alas, it was the day of the event.
Brief description on how this thing works. You have the backpack straps. His arms are attached to the backpack straps. You just... Hopefully with Dan's black shirt, you won't even see the straps.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to
Try to make my hair look wet, featuring Francis talking to me.
And he's like, I don't think I've ever seen a woman wear fake eyelashes.
So I want to wear some fake ones and see if he knows glue. It looks really wet.
Speaking of hair, I can sense your worry that our brunette, beard-clad Dan won't make a convincing Wesley. But I had this brassy blonde wig, and I colored it, and it turned out perfect for asking a teenage employee if you can speak to their manager. But we could work with it. The beard, on the other hand...
The moment has come. I'm finally going to see my boyfriend's real face for the first time. It's shaving time.
Anything for my Care Bear.
You're talking about Cary Elwes, aren't you?
Yeah. I want you to understand how important this moment is. It's been 10 years since I've shaved, so this is a little like Mufasa shaving his mane.
Is that the dragon from Mulan?
Before I get any farther, can you go get me 6 butter knives? Thank you. This is important.
Oh.
I had to line up sideburns in a long time.
You look nice.
I I'm glad that you still love me.
No, I had no problem accepting Dan with a shaved face. Dan in a wig cap, however, luckily that chapter was short-lived. We got the wig on him and styled it in a way that was less care in, more careless. You know what I'm saying? No, me neither. Wardrobe time.
I look like a wet buttercup.
Alright everybody, grab a sick grandson and watch this story of our grand reveal. There's a tip I meant to mention earlier. To really sell this look, I recommend that you smear strawberry jelly on your shoulder. That's not what we did, but you should. What are my critiques of this? Well, my neckline's too low. If I had made it any higher, I couldn't fit my head through. I got a big head. Just kidding, it's exactly average. It's the same size as a standard mannequin head. Not my mannequin, obviously. Other critiques include, oh, never mind, there's no time. Time to go to the event. I had mixed emotions. I had no idea how to feel, mainly because I had no idea what we were actually going to.
Let's do this thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, as you wish.
We had to walk along some public streets to get to the event, but nobody really stared at us. We do live in Ohio, so. But as soon as we arrived, we became quite popular.
This was awesome.
It started with a few people asking for pictures, then eventually a line formed, and in all, about 100 people asked for pictures with us. So by the end of the night, my head wasn't so average-sized anymore. When seated, we were able to use the ROUS as a footrest, and I highly recommend you take your shrieking eel to the movie theater with you, as it made the perfect neck pillow. Why did I say purr? Like it's a cat. Speaking of cats, is not what we're here to do. We watched The Princess Bride on the big screen, and then Cary came out, and they gave us a strict warning that we were not allowed to record or we'd be kicked out, but
I'm speechless. We weren't allowed to record, but I promise we're not exaggerating.
The very first thing Cary Elwes says when he comes
onto the stage.
There's a couple here that is dressed up. Can they come up on stage? I scramble to get this guy on my back, and all of a sudden,
Cary leaps off
the stage. I turn around. There he is, the man in black, the Red Pirate Roberts.
He asked me my name 4 times tonight.
Couldn't remember it.
After the show, he was looking for us, so he sent out his assistants. He said,
nobody has ever dressed up like this.
Says they're the most exciting costumes he's ever seen. That will stick with us for the rest of our lives.
night to remember.
Now we're just stalling because neither of us want to change. We don't want this night to end.
we stalled by taking pictures, trading creatures, and expressing our philosophical views through dance.
Is this cool?
It's really cool.
Jump rope! Get a shot of you kissing it. You're supposed to say, I would do anything for love, but I won't do rat. That window faces Main Street.
Eventually, we'd ran out of ways to mess around, so we figured we'd have to change out of our beloved costumes.
So I guess we have to change.
I have a pit of despair.
Don't worry, he's only mostly dead.
Subscribe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?